Shall I have a firm wrist or a loose wrist when I'm in touch with the ball? If you hit a ground stroke, your ability to be loose is key in generating spin and power. By holding the grip lightly.
Dear Patrick, it is not like that, and it is an urban myth that we hear a lot of times from coaches but have to dispel. Generating spin and power comes from great muscular contractions with exceptionally precise timing of activation and deactivation of muscles, not from remaining loose in general or leaving the hand free. Do any of these seem relaxed? It is precisely during impact that muscles that flex fingers and grip the racket and those that flex and internally rotate the hand express their maximum contractions to overcome the resistance of the incoming ball and stabilize the movement for control. If this didn't happen, this would be the consequence. The great players are not the most loose ones, but those who manage to respond to the visual stimulus of the ball with such a precise coordination of their body, and that are able to hit the ball at that moment, in that space, with that speed, with that inclination and movement of the racket, to respect their tactical goal. This fine organization between activation and deactivation of muscles involved have been built up by training the central and peripheral nervous system through trial and error for at least a dozen years, organizing technique in relation to the tactical goals and correcting it with the feedback it receives mainly from own senses. If we imagined a player hitting a forehand and could see the sequences of muscle activation and deactivation in electromyography, they would be schizophrenic in how complex they are. First, mainly in the leg to move to the ball and in the trunk and posterior chain of the shoulder for preparation. Then in the abdominals and pectoral as the forward movement of the racket begins, and continuing in the internal rotators of the shoulder, in the biceps, and flexors and intrarotators of the hand. Here, the forearm muscles still have low levels of contraction. After the impact, the posterior shoulder muscles slow down the racket and return to the ready position. When some muscle groups contract to produce a movement, others responsible for the opposite movement, the antagonist muscles, they contract to allow the development of greater speed and power, or stabilize the movement as happened at impact. It's thanks to his nervous system and muscular coordination that Zverev, who had a thin arm like this, hits ground strokes at 160 km per hour and serves at 230, while a powerlifter or a bodybuilder hits shots like this. What can this tell us about training? First of all, the wrist must not be loose in general, but must operate with the kinetic chain of the shot, which passes through complex phases of contraction and decontraction. We can also say that the technique is not improved by a coach who tells you to keep your wrist loose, but thanks to the training parameters: volume, intensity, and density. I give you the video here. Coach's feedback is overrated, and we will see that scientific research has shown that tactical or motivational feedback works much better than technical ones. The scientific studies say that lower the performance level is, stronger the relationship between improvements and volume of balls hit will be. Effective technical training requires several moments of volume in hitting hard, with power and rotation. This improves the central nervous system's ability to coordinate technique. Don't hit from a standstill with the coach telling you to stay relaxed or loose. Of course, there is a need for volume, so if hitting hard reduces it excessively, more deflated balls or green can be a good compromise for those who still have an amateur level. Hitting a ball with a racket is one of the most amazing actions that our body can perform, and behind it there is a perfect sequence of electrical stimuli from the nervous system, running through the body in a few hundredths of a second. The main difference between a professional and an amateur is right here. Coordinate self-movements with the ball and relax some muscles while others are being activated, with timing that ensure performance and efficiency. Don't get me wrong, I have great respect for Patrick Mouratoglou because he built one of the best training centers in the world from zero, but he is exposed to urban myths and reasoning fallacies too. I hope this video can reach Patrick and help him with Rune and his other athletes. See you next time.